The government's farming minister, Mark Spencer, has responded to what British farmers are calling a betrayal in post-Brexit trade deals with this statement. "We firmly back our farmers. British farming is at the heart of British trade, and we put agriculture at the forefront of any deals we negotiate, prioritising new export opportunities, protecting UK food standards and removing market access barriers." Meanwhile, back on planet Earth,
British farmers have reacted with shock to the terms of a new free trade deal with New Zealand.
The deal will see Kiwi meat imported without tariffs, and farmers in the UK say they get nothing in return.
A world away from rejoicing Kiwi farmers, their welly-wearing counterparts feel as though they are the sacrificial lambs of the free trade deal.
We're not competing on a level playing field. It's us surrendering to you, New Zealanders, and giving you a great deal, and we're getting nothing out of it.
The impact on Britain's economy is expected to be negligible.
The UK pork industry has been absolutely decimated, and probably the last 10 years, even going back further than that now, but European pork coming in that's heavily subsidised by their own governments has flooded our markets and made pig production in the UK pretty much impossible. For me personally, I feel that there's an unfairness in British agriculture, in that I think that the government, particularly this one actually, has been bad in throwing us under the bus. The Brexit trade deals that have been done are absolutely atrocious. It's just so short-sighted. It's going to be that utter lack of food security and how we're going to feed our own nation.
While new trade deals, like the one with Australia and New Zealand, are Jeff's concern, a few miles down the road, fruit farmer Tim has different worries.
The family, we've been farming for many generations.
He sells thousands of tons of strawberries to major UK supermarkets. How many staff are you bringing in sort of harvesting and planting season?
We'll have pretty much at our peak about 2,000 staff.
Before Brexit, foreign workers could stay at Tim's farm as long as they wanted. Now they have to leave after 6 months.
I don't need people coming for 6 months. By the time a person comes from 6 months, they've just got good enough for me to make them an economically viable worker, and then they have to go home. The visa is only for 6 months. They've basically put a hand behind my back and told me to fight someone with a gun. I'm in inability. I just can't fight. I can't negotiate fairly because the prices of the fruit coming in from abroad is not reflective of the same cost prices we have.
And for a further dose of reality, here is former Environment Secretary George Eustice addressing the House of Commons on the Australia trade deal.
I was in the Cabinet in 2021, and I was in this Cabinet subcommittee that argued over the Australian trade deal. For yes, there were deep arguments and differences over how we should approach this. But since I now enjoy the freedom of the backbenches, I no longer have to put such a positive gloss on what was agreed. The first step is to recognise that the Australia trade deal is not actually a very good deal for the UK. The truth of the matter is that the UK gave away far too much for far too little in return.
And if all that's not bad enough, by almost every economic and financial measure, the hard Brexit, which has been entirely self-inflicted on the UK economy by this insane government, has been disastrous for the UK. The loss of GDP due to Brexit and exiting the EU single market is put conservatively by the Independent Office of Budget Responsibility at a staggering 4% of GDP by 2030. And there's barely an importer or exporter who says that trading with the European Union has got easier. So next time you hear the government say this, "British farming is at the heart of British trade, and we put agriculture at the forefront of any deals we negotiate," remember this.
The first step is to recognise that the Australia trade deal is not actually a very good deal for the UK.